Today we're diving into one of the most powerful books ever written, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Now, this thing was written something like 2,500 years ago, but believe me, its lessons on strategy are more vital right now than ever. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, Sun Tzu just flips our whole idea of conflict on its head. He's saying that real genius isn't about being the toughest fighter, it's about winning before a fight even starts. This one idea, it's the key to understanding everything else. And that is exactly why this book is still a secret weapon for CEOs, coaches, and anyone trying to get ahead. See, its principles aren't really for the battlefield. They're a blueprint for winning in business, for getting that promotion, or even just for tackling your own personal challenges. It really is the ultimate guide to strategy.
So the big question is, how on earth do you win without fighting? Well, Sun Tzu's answer is kind of surprising. You do it with math. Not literally, but through calculation. For him, victory isn't about luck or chance. It's the result of a careful, cold, and brutally honest look at the facts.
This is the absolute core of it all. The winner has already won in their head, long before anyone makes a move, all through planning. They've looked at every angle, and they pretty much know the outcome. The battle itself, that's just a confirmation of what the calculations already told them.
And look, this isn't just some vague philosophical idea. Sun Tzu gives you a literal checklist. He says you have to weigh 5 key factors. First, moral law. Are your people unified with you? Second, heaven. Things you can't control, like timing or the weather. Third is earth, the actual ground you're fighting on. Fourth, the commander. That's you, your leadership. And finally, method and discipline. How good is your organization really?
But here's the kicker. You don't just assess your own side. You have to put your opponent under the exact same microscope. Who's the better leader? Who's got the stronger team? Who is better prepared? If you can answer these questions honestly, Sun Tzu says you can pretty much see the future and know who's going to win.
Okay, so once you've done your homework and you see things as they really are, the next step is to start messing with your opponent's perception of that reality. This is where knowledge stops being about preparation and starts being a weapon.
This is probably his most famous line, and for a very good reason. As soon as you understand the real situation, your job is to create a completely fake one for your enemy. The whole goal is to get inside their head and control what they think, what they see, and ultimately what they do.
And it all starts with misdirection. If you're close and ready to strike, you have to look like you're miles away, totally unprepared. You want to lull them into this false sense of security right before you make your move.
And of course, the reverse is just as deadly. When you're actually far away, you create the illusion that you're right on their doorstep. This makes them waste energy, wear out their people, and respond to threats that aren't even there. It leaves them wide open for when the real attack comes.
And that is how you set the trap. You dangle something tempting, maybe pretend you're disorganized and weak, and when the enemy gets greedy and rushes in, that is the exact moment you unleash everything you've got.
I mean, this is straight up psychological warfare. Sun Tzu is telling you to learn what makes your opponent tick. Are they arrogant? Act weak. Let them get overconfident. Do they have a short fuse? Well, then you poke and provoke them until they make a stupid mistake. It's about turning their own personality against them.
Now let's say you do have to engage. Sun Tzu is absolutely ruthless about one thing. You gotta be fast. A long, drawn-out conflict isn't a sign that you're tough. It's a sign that you've already failed strategically.
And to prove his point, he actually does the math. He figures out that keeping an army in the field costs 1,000 ounces of silver every single day. That kind of cost drains a country, exhausts the people, and just tanks the economy. In any conflict, the clock is not your friend.
And, the cost goes way beyond just money. A long campaign crushes morale. It dampens ardor. It physically wears out your people. And maybe worst of all, while you're stuck in this long fight, you look weak. And that's an open invitation for your other rivals to make a move. Delay is a disaster waiting to happen.
Sun Tzu just lays it out, plain and simple. He says if you look at history, you can't find a single example of a country that got stronger by fighting a long war. The goal is never just to fight. It's to win, fast, and save your strength for whatever comes next.
So this is the ideal. It's this incredible image he gives us. Your execution should be like a giant boulder pushed off a mountain. All that preparation, all that deception, it's all about building up this massive potential energy. So when you finally let it go, the result is fast, overwhelming, and just inevitable.
And all of this, the calculations, the deception, the need for speed, it all builds to one final monumental idea.
This is the absolute peak of Sun Tzu's philosophy.
So if you could only take one single thing away from this entire book, what would it be? Well, lucky for us, Sun Tzu gives a very clear answer. And there it is. That one sentence wraps up everything. Because you see, true mastery isn't just about figuring out your opponent. It's about turning that same sharp analysis on yourself and having a ruthless, honest understanding of your own strengths, your weaknesses, and your blind spots.
And then he breaks down the consequences, almost like a scorecard. If you only know yourself but not your opponent, well, your odds are basically 50-50. It's a coin toss. And if you know neither, you're going to lose every single time. Real, lasting success can only happen when you have both that internal and external knowledge.
So that's the final, powerful challenge this book leaves us with. Sun Tzu's enemy doesn't have to be another person. It could be a competitor in your market, an obstacle in your career, or maybe even a bad habit you're trying to break. The question he's asking, even 2,500 years later, is this: in your own world, are you doing the calculations? And maybe more importantly, have you taken the time to truly know yourself?